This is going to be your weekly chakra energy tarot reading. If it's meant for you, it's meant for you. We're going to take a look at the energies you may be experiencing throughout your chakras. So in the comments, please let me know your zodiac sign and your word of the day. So let's get right into it and look at the overall themes and messages for this reading. And we have here abundance. What a great way to start. Faith, optimism, excitement, and a breakthrough. Okay, normally I don't read reversals on cards, but I will say this. I do think that we are going through quite the death and rebirth right now because of the full moon in Scorpio coming up on May 12th. And many of you may be feeling optimistic and excited about this new energy coming through. But at the same time, if we look at the opposite on this card, we get doubt, pessimism, mundane energy, and feeling like there's misfortune. So I am curious to know, which side are you on right now? How do you feel? Now, personally, I'm excited about change. I do like change because I think growth is super important. At the same time, I recognize that a lot of people have anxiety about what's next. You know, people perceive, excuse me, my throat is bothering me, perceive that there's going to be misfortune or that there's going to be something, not so good coming, preparing for all the worst case scenarios. And essentially, that's just anxiety, right? How do you know something is not going to be the best thing that ever happened to you? Look, here's the rainbow. Sweet relief, new beginnings, a new way forward. This is my point. You have two choices. One, to look at the positive side of things, to anticipate good things coming your way, or to look at things and say, yeah, it's never going to work out, you know? And again, you have a choice in how you wake up every day and how you proceed, right? Let's take a look at what else you need to know. Resourcefulness. You're very resourceful. You're intelligent. Don't doubt yourself. I think that's what it is. It's people getting in their own way, thinking that something can't happen, but you have to believe in the impossible. Okay, I'm going to put these cards off to the side. If we need them again later, we shall discuss. But let's take a look at the Chakra Wisdom Tarot, which is a beautiful deck that shows all the different colors of the chakras or energy centers in the body. So let's take a look at our root chakra, which is our foundation. It's our Mars energy. All right, let's see. Here we have the Nine of Cups. This is my point. Ask and you shall receive. I mean, this is a card of manifestation. So if you're asking to receive good things, then good things are coming your way. If you're telling yourself that nothing ever works out and in negative energy, well, you're going to be attracting negative energy. Now, I should clarify and say that it's not just asking, right? You've got to take action in your own day-to-day to attract things. It's not enough to just wish it. You can't just say, I wish for love. Love doesn't fall out of the sky. You've got to put yourself in a position to attract the love you desire by being the love that you desire, right? So there's definitely a vibe here of manifestation, a new solid foundation for you. Yes, see, start saying yes. Start saying yes. There's nothing wrong with saying yes to things. All right, let's see what else you need to know. The fireworks. See, celebration. Now, interesting. In my online family, we love this card. Passion, chemistry, lust, happiness, excitement, holiday, celebration, kissing, exhilaration, explosive, hot canoodling, as we say, since we don't use any of the words that could trigger. But you can have celebration. You can have explosive, hot energy. Why not? Believe in it. All right, let's take a look at the sacral chakra, self-worth, self-value, and self-respect. This is your Venus. And you've got the Fool, trusting, taking a leap of faith. Are you ready for new beginnings? Let's see. There we go. The Knight. Confident, heroic, messenger. This can also be a younger lover, just so you know. It could be that somebody passionately wants to ride in, when you're in good energy, when you're saying yes to yourself, when you're celebrating good things, when you're willing to take a risk, you get the reward. And again, this could indicate a message coming through. Now, I just have to make an observation here. These are 2 number 1 cards, okay? Brand new beginnings. So definitely an overwhelming message here of new. Let's see what else we need to know. The magnet, what are you attracting? What you put out is what you get back, right? Notice how when you go out and about, you go to the store and, let's just say, you're at the cash register and the person is rude to you. What do you in return, right? What do you do in return? You kind of go, oh, and you kind of return the favor. Or if you're the one that's really positive and you say, hello, good morning, how are you? Most of the time somebody will respond with some sort of positive energy. Now, if they don't, that's on them. That's an indication of what's going on in their life, but at least you're putting out the positive energy, right? Typically, it will come back to you with consistency. So let's take a look at the solar plexus, your personal power. Interesting. We did get a yellow card here, which is personal power. 10 of Wands, you might be feeling very exhausted, mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally exhausted because it takes so much energy to make moves, right? And so, yeah, if you're tired, take a rest, but never stay stagnant, right? We talked about that mundane energy in the opening card. There's the crystal ball, intuition, trust your intuition, use discernment. Now, obviously, we wish we had a crystal ball. Of course, we wish we knew what was going to happen. But we have no way of knowing until we cross that bridge. That's why I tell everybody one step in front of the other. Look at this, 1, 1, 1. Also, another observation, 9 plus 1 is 10. 10 is a 1. 0 plus 1, it's 1. 10, right? 1, that's a 2. Building something. New beginnings to building. Love it. Okay. We're starting to build something new here. You can see it because you have to be so tired of something that you just want to let it go, as in the old story, right? And there's the Milky Way. Milky Way is about networking, right? It's funny that I mentioned just going to a cashier or being in a store or whatever. Networking is talking to new people. I was with my niece the other day in a crystal shop that we had never been to before. And the store was quiet because it was close to closing. And there was a really nice young girl working in the rock area, like in the crystal area. It's kind of an interesting store. It feels almost like industrial, but like in a really cool way. Like it's a place where there's so many different stones that you can go look at. I wouldn't call it a typical crystal store. And, we just started talking. And that's a bit of also networking, where you get to know someone or you build a relationship or a connection. And she said, oh, are you part of our, our membership? And I was like, oh, I was like, no. And then she was telling me all about it. And it was a free membership, to build a relationship with the crystal store, as in wholesale. And so, it was just really nice getting to know somebody. It's a contact, right? It's an idea. If I ever need crystals, if I ever need something, I know where to go now. So again, I don't know why I'm going off on this tangent, but there's this importance to networking and communicating and talking and sparking new energy. And when I left, with my niece, she actually said to me, it was funny, she said something along the lines of, oh, yeah, Kelly, it's like sparking new energy. And because I've been telling her the importance of, getting to know people, putting yourself out there, learning new things. And so, anyways, I think that's really important for people right now. Maybe this is like the teacher in me coming through, right? Let's take a look at the heart chakra, matters of the heart. Temperance, patience, forgiveness, possibly reconciliation. And by the way, I should mention that the Milky Way card can be about somebody reaching out on social media or somebody sending a message of some kind. And we did have that with the Knight card. But of course, you have to use what? Discernment. That's what was said on the crystal ball card. If somebody's going to come in, they've got to come correct. You have to use discernment. You can't get all caught up in it, right? And I do think that right now, again, I feel like I say this every week, but I know specifically right now, um, there's a lot of intense emotional energy, and that comes from Mercury and Aries. Sort of this push, of do first, think later kind of vibes. Also, the fact that, there's this vibe of Mercury retrograde, even though it's not Mercury retrograde. I mean, how many of you have been having some glitches? It's interesting. Somebody reached out to me yesterday saying, "Are you having glitches?" And I was like, no. And then all of a sudden, like a ton of glitches came through in the session that I was in. The signal kept breaking or losing. And so, yeah, there's this energy right now that says, be a little bit more patient. Be careful with the emotions, because if the emotions run away with you, you might regret it, you know? So let's take a look at the clarification of this card. Forked road. Are you in the old or are you in the new? And I think that's the struggle right now. I really do. Because I think people want new energy, but they're afraid of it. And there's some people that are just fighting the shift big time. They don't want new energy because they're afraid of what that means, of losing what they know, who they are, what they've been through. Yeah, see, stalemate. I almost feel like also people feel like if they're being patient, that nothing is moving, and that's not true. We don't know what's moving behind the scenes. You don't see roots underground, right? Until they pop through, but they're doing something. So it's all about perspective, right? But if you do feel like things are stuck, then baby steps, make some moves, and also forgiveness or lack thereof, I should say, keeps people stuck. Forgiveness is not about another person. Forgiveness is about yourself. Because if you hold on to anger and resentment for something, you're just hurting yourself. You're not hurting really the other person. You may think you are, but you're not. So let's take a look at the throat chakra. So earlier my throat acted up a little bit. Granted, it is early in the morning as I'm filming this. I don't usually film this so early. Let's see. Victory. Victory. Communication really is key right now. Chocolate, satisfaction. I love that. Love, romance, treating yourself to something nice, letting go of some old pain, resentment, heartache. Do something that makes you feel good. Allow yourself to move forward so that you can have victory. Again, it's all perspective. Break free. It does say strong emotions. It does also say unleash the inner beast. There's also some spicy energy there. I've had people tell me that there is pip in the air, passion in the pants. But I would just say that it's time to let go, of all the things holding you back. Break the reins, so to speak. All right, let's take a look at the third eye, which is intuition, healing. Allow the healing energy through. Let's see what else we need to know. The rings, commitment, contracts, agreements. It's interesting. Everything that you've gone through has been part of your soul contract, has been part of your healing journey. What you take from it is up to you. What you've learned. I mean, let me ask you this in the comments if you wish to share. What is the biggest lesson you've learned on this journey? What's the one thing that you can say that massively changed your life? For me, I think you already know the answer. Trusting the process. Trusting the process. One foot in front of the other. Checking my work. Getting wiser with every experience. Implementing the knowledge that I've learned. And there's the man. This could be you or someone you're dealing with. You know, it's interesting. Not that it's about gender, but in general, when we go through all of these trials and tribulations, right? We have to set intentions. We have to actually take a risk. It's the taking action to manifest what we're desiring, right? We're going to have moments where we're exhausted and just run down, beat down, tired, but we still have to be patient because our victory and our healing is coming. And I can equate this very much to anything. But when I look at this, I really do think of love because, look, we can have the commitment, but we have to be committed to ourselves first, right? The man doesn't just fall from the sky, okay? Or the person that we love or that we desire doesn't just fall from the sky. It requires us to go through all of this. Now, a lot of people might say, well, why? Why does it have to be that way? Why do I have to feel like I'm deceived into this healing journey? You know, why does the carrot have to be dangled, like in the cake analogy? It's to give us a glimpse. We have to find motivation somehow. I mean, it kind of reminds me of this video that I watched, I don't know, over a year ago. And it was about, you know, a job interview. If you go for a job interview, but it requires a master's degree, and the interviewer says, oh, you're perfect. How about this? We'll give you the job as long as you go get your master's degree. How willing are you to actually go get your master's if they already gave you the job, right? More than likely, you won't be as motivated because you already got the prize. So there is a sense of satisfaction, interesting, because that's the word on the chocolate card, of accomplishing something. You know, don't you feel accomplished for the things that you've been going through? I know I do. Being able to do this with you every day is a real sense of accomplishment for me because it has been a long road. I mean, we're talking the last 8 to 10 years of my life in various ways that have changed incredibly. So that has brought me so much healing, and it has allowed me to help, you know, in other healing journeys, in your healing journeys. I mean, it's amazing how that energy can spread, right? How many of you say trust the process and roll your eyes, or say, you know, short-term pain, long-term gain, short-term gain, long-term pain? Like those type of things really satisfy me to know that I didn't go through things just for nothing, right? Let's take a look at the crown chakra, the downloads coming through. And look, see, we went from that 10 of wands at exhaustion to the 10 of cups. Look, 9 of cups is your personal fulfillment, right? On your own. 10 of cups is like your ultimate fulfillment emotionally. And look at this romantically, even. You know, it's like having the relationship. Here's Pandy. Pandy's jumping into the reading. Usually it is karma. Hi, Pandy. You know, this is like saying having the relationship, having the family, having the abundance, right? So how beautiful is that? I'm very happy to see that card come through. Sorry, Pandy, I gotta put this card down. Oh, no, 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 no. Pandy is the purest of pure cat. See, look, she knows to just sort of, oh, she was telling karma, not right now. I don't know if you heard that. She meant business. All right, and let's take a look at these last cards here. So about this 10 of cups. The fortress. You know, you can look at this in two ways. Fortitude, staying power. You know, maybe this is like this couple in their castle, right? Now, this is a number 1 card. And funny how we talked about ones here and we ended with a 1. And look at 10 is 1 plus 0. It's a 1. So look at that. It reminds me of, you know, the beginning is the end is the beginning. It's always a cycle. So be careful of being stubborn and not taking down your walls, because if you're at this point very stubborn and unwilling to be optimistic, unwilling to make a move, unwilling to see other points of view, then this is going to run away from you. How happy are you when you're stubborn? How happy are you when your walls are up? Truthfully, probably not very happy. Let's see what else. Well, you can't make it up. I talked about what was my biggest lesson. Trust divine timing. That's all you can do. Are you willing to? Are you willing to be open to see where things take you? Okay, because we have a full moon coming up, let's take some moonology cards here. Now, we are doing the full moon Zoom on Friday, May 9th. I can't believe I'm saying May. May 9th at 6 p.m. The cost is $22. It is on my website, which you can access in the description box below. It includes a 2-hour general collective reading and also a personalized mini moon reading that gets sent to you by the next new moon. So here we have here, what do you need to release? Absolutely. What do you need to let go of right now? Nothing is yet set in stone. How beautiful in theory, you know, because this is the truth of like how to make space. And then this is where the shift comes in, where we almost are in fear of what's next because nothing's set in stone. How do we know? You just have to ride that wave. You know, to set some intentions for this full moon, let me know in the comments. What do you need to release? What do you need to let go of? What do you need to make space for, maybe? Look at that. Expect powerful change. It's on its way. I really hope this resonates with you. If you'd like to do a personal reading with me or attend the full moon Zoom, the link is in the description box below. Thank you very much, and I wish you an amazing day.